Cathy O'Toole.
Hello Adriel, how are you?
It's good to be here with you.
Thank you.
I'm doing well. We're here in Townsville talking to Cathy O'Toole about some new information that's been put together in a workshop. And we want to, first of all, start with Cathy O'Toole. Who are you to Townsville? What connects you to Townsville?
Well, I was born here,
Yeah.
so I'm well connected in terms of spending my life here, apart from probably 18 months where I worked and lived overseas in London, and then 2 years where I studied in Brisbane to become a qualified TAFE teacher.
Oh.
Other than that, I've had numerous businesses here in Townsville and raised my children here, married here, and I think Townsville is a wonderful place to live.
And thank you for joining us on this webcast. The reason I've talked to Cathy and asked her that is that Cathy's actually the author of some of this new training that we're discussing today. And this in particular, this webcast talking about this module here, Shift Your Mental Model. What does that actually mean? What's that? Why is it titled that?
I guess, Adriel, one of the things that we know if we stop and take some deep breaths and look at how we live our lives, we live in a world that is really framed around external control.
Yeah.
So we believe that things happen to us because of an outside influence or cause. Now, there is some element of truth in that, but what we've failed to understand, I think, individually and collectively, is that we can make choices about how a situation may present to us. So what I've been encouraging people to do is to think about the choices that they make and also the way they relate to people. So when I talk about external control, we've grown up in a world where we see blame, we see criticising, we see nagging, we see bribing for reward or controlling for reward. And we see these behaviours that are simply just destructive personally and to our relationships. Now that spills over into our workplace as well as into our own family situations and friendship groups to some degree. And what I've presented to people is, could we think about, instead of blaming, could we think about accepting?
Yeah.
Could we think about accepting another person's point of view? Could we think about accepting the fact that I'm okay as I am, and I did make that decision, and maybe it was an effective decision and maybe it was not so effective, and what can I learn from it? And then maybe we could start to think about trusting ourselves more. Maybe we could start to think about connecting with people, supporting people, respecting people. And really, there's a real need for us to welcome and value diversity.
So what you're saying with that title, your mental model, is sort of let's actually own it.
Yes.
Like make it yours.
Yes, my statements.
Not in relation to someone else.
That's right. So
Because a lot of things that we think are ours are in fact a reaction to someone else's model, basically.
well, that's right.
Or
yeah.
a previous model of generations past.
That's exactly right. And I think we also think about the influence, like, oh, because my mother or father did that,
Yeah.
then that's why I do that. Or the environment that I'm in is causing this to happen to me. And there may be some truth. I'm not suggesting that there isn't any truth in that. But what choices can I make? What active choices that are informed choices can I make about how I react?
So we're not actually talking about mental illness at all, really at all. We're talking about a mental model, in this case, that people bring to their workplace. In this case, more in particular, what we're talking about today is 7 ways to wellbeing for small business, in the sense of what mental model do you bring to your workplace, even if you own that workplace, if it's yours. So you're bringing all those biases in and not understanding why they don't translate. So as you can see, there's a very hefty context to why we're talking about this today in this particular webcast of this workshop that's going to be available multimodal and online. So I hope you can join us for the rest of this workshop online as a taster. and what you can do in person as a booking for a training place.